Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast, where industry leaders share their insights. It's 5 questions in about 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Let's get right into it. Bryan, tell me who you are and what do you do?
And Bryan Ogle. I am an IT technician, well, cybersecurity professional, and I've been in this for 21 years. Passionate about technology. I love helping people do their jobs, and it was like the only way that I could really connect with people during a time with like my hearing loss was a was a barrier to the essential uh, dimensions of communication for as active listening. And without the ability to actively listen to people, I could overcome that with the passion for technology. When people would tell me they have a problem, I'm going in, I'm connecting from the perspective of the problem, then that, and then the individual user. And um, so I have lots of experience with helping various people in IT. My first 5 years, it was like a government nonprofit. So I for, worked in the state of Texas, and it was really defined role with policy and procedures where I could automate things and also help and I always loved doing a good thing. And so that job I was helping provide government assistance to people that needed childcare. And so I started out with, I had lots of access to data at the time, but I always handled it responsibly like Spider-Man because uh, I'm here to provide a service or support a company providing the service. And I take really great pride in knowing that people get the help they need or the product they want to buy, or in my case now, the patient care at the hospital I work at now.
Bryan, that's an amazing story. And I love that you have put your passion for helping others as part of your cybersecurity profession. And so I want to ask you, why do you just love being a cyber professional?
It's just like Bruce Lee talked about, be like water, you know, cybersecurity technology is like the path, the least resistant for me to get out there and help people connect with them. I try to treat everybody the same, whether the CEO or the janitor. I mean, like I've had a janitor stop by my office. I printed out the work guide so he could do a good job. Did the same thing with everyone. So I try to treat everybody the same.
I think that's such a great way to take your role in cyber. It doesn't have to just be you sitting there staring at a computer screen. I love your attitude towards that. Let's pivot just a little bit. In in today's world, we hear cybersecurity is a top concern. But what does that mean to you, Bryan?
That's a very interesting question because that ultimately value, and that value is different. I got from each business. So there's a communication gap I experience now with value as far as like you can be the best guy there is and possibly eliminate risk. But when you eliminate risk, the company may save $1 million, but they don't see your value and you get any kind of reward for it. And that's been my witness. Just I've always stayed behind the scenes and afraid to get out there and make those connections, be seen, but not anymore.
Nice. And getting out there and putting yourself in a position to tell the CIO, hey, there's this is risky and we need to look at this because we need cybersecurity to be in the presence of all of the business teams. What are some things that you do today that really just help the business see you and see cybersecurity as important?
It's just helping people uh, evolve in each department. So it's in communications, finding the gap, and suggesting the ideas and offering the letting people know they have a choice to do something and not just accept it and not be like assume somebody doesn't know how to do their job without looking to see do they have the tools they need. Because you can have the best worker and without the tools they need to do their job, job satisfaction goes down, job retention goes down, turnover goes up.
Very important for cyber folks to remember that the majority of the business doesn't understand why something needs to be secure. And so your take on education and giving those resources to all of those people is a breath of fresh air. And so thank you for that. I'd like to give you the opportunity, Bryan, to just share some insight with our community. Whatever you want to share, just share it right now, and so the other cyber professionals can hear your experience.
So I want to say communication is very important in this field. You can be the smartest person in the room, and without the ability to communicate in a way that provides synergy, where everybody comes together and really excels. I mean, and that's a big thing because, like, I'm sure everybody's seen, like, you know, without the active listening, you could be somebody could have a bad warning. They get stopped at every red light, and then their printer's not working, so they're trying to fix the printer, and they literally bend over, they're slamming the paper tray, and then somebody comes in and says, "Hey, Joe, Mark is out sick today," but all they see is uh, the guy jump up and he's mad because he's mad at the copier, bad warning, and so the other person to go call Mark and say, "Hey, you got to come in. He's mad." So, like little things like that. And I also want to backtrack just a little bit and say that it's also at IT cybersecurity, we got to know the needs of the business as well. It's a shared responsibility. And when we don't look at that, our role as a shared responsibility, that's the gap to where uh, anything can happen. Your risk is more unpredictable with those gaps. Communication is a skill that we can always get better at. I know a lot of misconceptions are like, oh, if you hear, you're going to understand. Well, there's more to hearing than just talking. And we got to also recognize teamwork. I mean, we're all with a team now. It's becoming more important that more companies work together as well. And we need more due diligence, more planning in projects, because a lot of times people just kind of like in that movie, Kingdom of Heaven, Orlando Bloom. You remember that movie?
Yeah,
The army marched out into the desert, get dehydrated and die. They were all like, "God wills it." I mean, the today's world's complex enough now that we assumptions are bad. We, we need to like be on the same page and know our values and needs. So business need to understand the value of the IT professionals, and we got to understand the value that the needs of the business. Sounds like a simple formula, but sociology 101, the world's not what it appears to be.
Bryan,
Like,
I love your
um,
take on it. It's very mindful. I think the mindfulness that you bring to your insight is refreshing. I want to end with a fun question. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
let's see. I don't know where he's at. I had some Star Wars action figures here. Only one survived. Chewbacca, because he head's not detachable. But so Star Wars, Atari, the one piece of retro technology that helped me the most was the tape recorder, because they didn't realize I had lost my hearing while I was like 3 months old. And so the doctors finally figured out I was deaf at the age of 3. And my mom had a tape recorder, and we worked on my speech and really worked with my education to get me up to speed with the world. So I would say love the tape recorder the best. May not be here in this podcast if it wasn't for the tape recorder.
It's very true. Bryan, thank you so much. This was such a fun podcast. Folks, keep watching the Cyber Pro podcast. And Bryan, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and bonus content.